I am Ebony Vaz, the PR Marketing track captain. And right now we're getting ready to start our session for making chatbots work for you. And I'm very excited to have these individuals come with us and join us today. So first off, we're going to bring to the stage Anthony Powell. He is the founder of Legal Linda, which is a Tampa-based startup that uses AI, chat, and voice technology to automate screening and scheduling for law firms. So let's give it up for Anthony. Drop some applause in the chat, y'all. Next up, we're going to bring up Danica Hoppy. I love the stories because she met Matt during Startup Weekend Tampa Bay, and I love that. And they are co-founders of Given. So they've expanded this platform where it makes it easy for nonprofits to easily create their own chatbot. They won first place with this idea, so hey, it's got to be a good one, right? The team continued to build on and to be a powerhouse for fundraising tools today. Let's give it up for Danica Hoppy. Applause, yay! And last but not least, we're going to be bringing up Joe of Zuniga Marketing. He's going to be our moderator for today. From Miami to all other places in between, he has done a ton of things in the business management and the marketing space, and he is known for being nominated and winning a Tejano Globe Music Award. So let's give it up for Joe. Yay, drop the applause. So just before I turn it over to Joe, I'm going to let everybody know our panelists are going to be focused on giving you great content. They're not going to be reading the chats. However, we are going to open up for Q&A towards the end. And so once we get through the questions that they have already gone through and they're going to give you a little bit of demo, I'll come back on and go through the Q&A with you guys. So if you have any questions for any of our great panelists, please go to the Q&A section. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ebony. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Joe Zuniga. I'm an award-winning Latin recording artist, inspirational speaker, businessman, and author. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today, especially my co-hosts here, Anthony and Danica, and for joining us and for agreeing to participate in Techstars Startup Week Tampa Bay. So with that, I want to ask you guys, Danica and Anthony, whoever wants to take this, or probably both of you guys. We hear a lot about chatbots and a lot of automation and stuff like that. And what comes to mind, Terminator, The Matrix, these type of movies, right, where they just take over the world. So how do you think chatbots and automation will help or hurt the workplace?
Yeah, so I can take this one, or at least start. I think that, of course, I'm biased because I have a chatbot company, but I do think that chatbots are only going to help make us smarter, better, faster. I think there will be a shift in terms of how we do work, but I think it's only going to help. All those mundane tasks, the ones where, they're just monotonous, I think that those are going to start going away, and it's just going to make our work more exciting and more, useful in what we're doing.
Interesting. Anthony, what's up?
No, I totally agree. I'm not familiar with The Matrix or the Terminator, and I'm biased as well, Danica, so that doesn't help. But it's only going to help for sure. I used to intern for Navy Federal before starting up Legal Linda, and we used to work on some pretty cool projects in regards to automating help desk tasks for internal teams, for automating HR requests internally. So that's definitely aiding in productivity. So that's definitely a benefit. And even for my small team now, like we use Slack and we use Jira and different tools for project management. And we have like a little Slack box that like act as our assistant. Like they notify us of upcoming due dates. They can remind us of different tasks. If we make any changes within Jira, my developer is able to see it like instantaneously in Slack. So it's definitely helping us as we progress as a community into a more tech savvy space. So it can only help. As far as the downfalls, I mean, like I said, I've never really seen Terminator or Matrix, so I'm not sure about that. But yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, I think there's other movies out there that freak people out with that type of stuff. But also for both of you guys, so what is the first area you think businesses can begin to look at automation for their service-based business or for nonprofits?
Sure. So my company, Given, works just exclusively with nonprofits. So I can really speak, in that sector. And with that, I think that and this may apply also to kind of for-profit businesses as well, but just kind of all those questions that you get repeatedly, and every business has those. Typically businesses will have like a customer service manual because it's the questions that keep coming. I think that those are the ones that can really be eliminated with the chatbot or can be handled through that process, that automation. So everything, you think you hire somebody who's doing customer service or who's helping your nonprofit just answer the same questions over and over again, you can automate that. Why pay to have somebody, answer those questions when it can all just be 24/7 automated? So I think that that's the first area that people should really look at, optimizing with chatbots.
Interesting.
I totally agree there. Danica. Just identify an area within your business where, it's high frequency, kind of like what Danica just said, an area where you can define a process or a set of criteria that is repeatable. And, that's a good place to start. Another good place to start is, looking at areas within your business or within your organization that is just taking up too much of your time. It's kind of more vague, but that's definitely a good place to look as well. You kind of reverse engineer that. Try to research tools to help you automate some of the things that can be automated within that process. For example, we helped a while ago. We did a custom development for like a medical company. They realized like during COVID and stuff like that, they had a lot of turnover, and they just felt like onboarding was taking up so much of their time. So they came to us and was like, "Hey, we want like a system for automating this process." So nonetheless, we created like a chat system that helped them, basically onboard people more efficiently. So yeah, definitely like Danica said, definitely identify an area within your businesses that is high frequency, and you can, kind of create a set criteria that can be duplicated, and also, look into areas that just take a lot of time. That's cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
What do you guys think are some of the mistakes that businesses have attempting to deploy these chatbots?
I'll go first again. We have a routine.
Ladies first, of course,
Yeah. The mistakes that I've seen some companies make is just, number one, the biggest one is pretending that a chatbot is a real person. And that is, you don't want to do that because, once they find out, they're going to be upset about it. You just always want to be very, upfront with it. And just don't pretend that it's a real person. I think as well, another mistake that I've seen is just, companies don't update the chatbot, right? So it's so easy to kind of put it together, put your responses in, your flow, and then what happens is you're not thinking about it because you're not actually having those conversations. So it's on autopilot, and if the details change or the time of the event or the campaign or whatever, that the gala or whatever it might be changes, and you don't go back and change it in the chatbot, then that, that donor or that, customer is going to have a really bad experience. So I think that's one thing too is, chatbots are kind of, they're meant to be automated, but you do have to just make sure they're up to date.
Really cool.
Definitely great tips there. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully y'all taking notes. That's definitely keys right there. I guess one that I could add to that, you definitely hit the nail on the coffin there, is probably the biggest mistake is companies and organizations or individuals choosing a chat tool that doesn't necessarily align with their business or with what they're trying to accomplish. Like, for example, I like Vans. I have Vans on right now, like the shoes, they're skateboard shoes. If I were to run a triathlon, I probably wouldn't want to wear Vans because I'd be totally uncomfortable. I probably want to wear some Asics, Reeboks, Nikes. And it's the same thing when choosing the right chat tool. You have to consider the integrations that you're going to need going forward. You have to consider the business case, the use case for it, your audience, where you're going to deploy it. These are things that are essential to choosing a chat tool. You just don't want to go pick ManyChat because I like ManyChat. And so you're like, Anthony likes ManyChat or some influencer likes it, so I'm going to use it for my business as well. You have to really go out and do your research really go out and understand what you're trying to do and pick the chat tool that works for you.
Really cool. So Anthony, you know shoes, but you don't know movies. Ebony said we have to have a movie party with you to bring you up to speed. So
Sounds good.
That's definitely, let's put that on the calendar.
It sounds great to me.
Yeah. So how simple and how complex have you guys seen chatbots used?
Sure. So I can use our platform as an example. So, nonprofits can get on and, chatbots are tools, just like so many other things. And how you use it is going to really be up to you and your needs and just kind of how much effort and time you want to put into it. But we've had nonprofits that create chatbots that are just really kind of simple. They share mission statements, their, information, how to collect donations, volunteer opportunities, things like that, like really basic information to answer those common questions. And then we've had some nonprofits go as far as to create QR codes for events where people can scan it, have a automatic conversation, learn about whoever's presenting at that gala or event, collect donations that are reoccurring donations, get receipts in their chat, get an automatic follow-up, things of that. So it's really robust depending on your needs and what you want to do with it. But there's a lot that can be done. Even so far as you can sell tickets through a chat, and I'm speaking for nonprofits. So, you can get those donations, sell tickets, follow up with people. It can get pretty advanced.
Interesting.
Totally. I think it kind of goes back to, you understanding where you would like to implement automated systems within your business, really trying to identify that process and then start going from there. And after you identify it, you can definitely gauge if you need something that's simple or something that's more advanced. Whether it's simple or advanced, it comes down to effectiveness. That's the most important thing. For example, some of the law firms that we engage with, one of our best use cases was pretty much a law firm that is just conducting a legal vendor chatbot that is just conducting pre-screens on behalf of that law firm. And she increased her leads exponentially 1 month compared to 3 months prior to using legal vendor. But some law firms now, it's definitely more granular, definitely more robust. They're doing things like handling the entire intake process from the lead capturing to the pre-screening to the technical diagnostic to scheduling and following up and booking those appointments. So, like I said, it can get as specific as necessary, but the main thing, regardless of how advanced or simple it is, you need to focus on identifying, the business case for it and going from there.
Really cool. Do you guys have give us a 3 to 5 minute demo or discussion of how chatbots or an automated process works?
Sure. So I can go first.
Danica, you're awesome. You're always, you're ready to go, girl.
Yes.
So like Ebony said, my startup is Given, and Given's social media driven fundraising. So on our platform, and it's only for nonprofits, on our platform, nonprofits can create landing page, donation page, chatbot, there's a CRM. So it's a bit of more than just a chatbot on the platform. So there's no coding required. There's no kind of development. It's just plug and play. Essentially, you put in your mission statement, you put in, okay, these are the donation amounts I want to give donors the option to donate, or here's a video to help people understand about my nonprofit, things of that nature. So it's really the whole platform of how to use it. And I'm not going to show you the back end of the platform and kind of how you can set it up, because I think that might be, I don't know, maybe not as exciting, but I'll show you an actual example of a website that a nonprofit's, it's actually our demo site. And then I'll show you how the chatbot works. So share my screen here. Let me see here. Okay. Share whole screen. If you can't see it, just let me know. You able to see? Yeah?
Nope.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Nope. Do you guys see? Anthony, you see it?
Oh gosh.
I hear the clicking.
Let's do it just might be a second to kind of load it up because I see it trying to work. Yeah, it should be working. Okay, that should work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is our demo nonprofit website. So this isn't a real nonprofit. We just created this as an example, but this is actually a given landing page. So a nonprofit can go into our platform and they can create this. They can put these images up here. They can put buttons, their social icon, or links to their social media, contact information, etc. And then there's also the donation page, and the donation page is obviously where donors can donate. They can do the reoccurring monthly donations, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And these are the two pages that are part of the given platform that nonprofits can create. Well, down here on the right, this icon is actually the Facebook Messenger icon. And if you click on this, it's possible to just start chatting. So whenever a user clicks on this and then continues, they've accepted the kind of terms of use of Facebook Messenger. So you get, as a nonprofit or for-profit, whatever company you have, you get their basic information, and then you can chat back to them and they can chat with you. So if you see here, all this that's coming through, hi there, how are you? All of this, the emojis, everything, this was all pre-programmed in the chatbot, right? So it's all automated. I can click down here and say, okay, tell me more. I want to know more about this nonprofit. And it comes back, and again, this is all automated. And there's an example of how to use the credit card. So you can decide, okay, yeah, I do want to donate. Would you like to? You can click through donate here. And all of this, like I said, is all automated. And this is also streamlined. So if this donor would go to Facebook, they would have that same conversation in their Facebook Messenger on Facebook. So I want to show you something else.
Really cool.
I'm going to do the specific window, so just bear with me here. Okay, so here, this is actually the background or the inbox of Super Cool Nonprofit. So again, this is a demo page. In the inbox, you can see here, if it loads, this is the conversation that I just had on the website. Okay.
Ebony says if you double click on the screen sharing, so you can see it more closely or something like that.
Okay. Are you not able to see it closely? Is it too small?
No, that's a comment for the audience. That's a comment, yeah, for the audience. Sorry.
Oh yeah, like if you click in the top right, it will expand that specific screen.
Okay. Oh, duh. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so this is, like I was saying, this is the inbox of the Facebook page for that demo nonprofit. So this conversation here, although this is the chatbot talking, it still shows in the inbox in the Facebook Messenger. And then this is the conversation that I was having. I hope that's easy to follow. But at any point, so currently I'm acting as the nonprofit, right? I'm acting as Super Cool. If I say, oops. If I just say hi, and you heard that beep there. One second, I don't know why this is so difficult, going back and forth, okay? But then over here, you can see on the actual website, that message came through, right? So at any point during the conversation with the chatbot, you can interrupt that conversation, you can stop the chatbot, you have insight into everything that's being said. And again, all of this is, you program this into the platform, so you can change this at any time, change the images, all of that type of kind of stuff. Another thing is once a donor donates, they can donate right in chat, and then they get the receipt right away. So there's no kind of follow-up. There's no figuring out who donated, when they donated. We've got to send receipts. It's all automated in here. for them. So
Really cool.
sorry, I think I took more than my 3 to 5 minutes. So
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's great information.
Great information.
That's okay. You set a high bar for Anthony. So
Really high. I can't even lie. Really high. I did not even have that set up actually. I was going to walk you guys through a conversation of how it will look like, but that's great, Danica. And so hopefully, this will provide a different perspective because Danica's was so thorough. I'm just going to share with you guys, I guess how this even came about, the concept of Legal Linda, and hopefully this will provide some insight in regards to if you're considering deploying a bot, what your mindset should look like going into doing so. And so after I graduated, started freelancing for a bit, a couple of different companies in several different industries. That doesn't make sense, a couple and several, but that was the case. And we worked with a couple of law firms and realized there was a huge gap. Law firms are great, by the way. They understand the customer, which is awesome. They understand the process of intaking that customer, on what it takes to qualify that customer. And after a customer qualifies, the process to go about acquiring and retaining that customer. So we realized that we worked with a couple of law firms, but we also realized that they had a really inefficient way of carrying that out. So that's how Legal Linda came about. So what does that look like? Unlike Danica's, which is a SaaS platform, I believe Danica, correct me if I'm wrong, but people who sign up with your platform can actually go in and do everything they need to do on the back end to deploy the bot, correct? Yes. So Legal Linda, we kind of bootstrapped it, so it's not necessarily a SaaS on the back end. It is set up as a SaaS. We do have templates. So let's say a personal injury law firm wants to sign up for our product. They would just sign up using the sign up form, pick a plan, and we literally have everything in GitHub, and we just can basically deploy it instantaneously. So like I said, I don't have a demo set up like Danica, but I'm definitely going to walk you through a process. I can actually show you. So hopefully my client. Let's see, I'll probably shoot them an email, let them know. But if you give me a moment, I'm going to share my screen. So guys, give you an example here. So Joe, let me know when you shoot me. It looks like you can now. Okie dokie. Yep. Okay, so this is an example of one of our immigration firms in the Southeast. So similar to Danica's, it's a chatbot, right? So it's going to pop up somewhere on the screen where you can interact with it. So if a prospective client came to Weinstock's immigration law website, they see Legal Linda in the bottom right-hand corner, and they're able to do a couple of different things. They're able to get help with the case right now. They're able to book a consultation directly to that law firm's calendar or that lawyer's calendar, and they're able to get help with the green card case. And this is just over time we realized that, going back to what Danica said earlier, it's one thing to deploy a bot. It's another thing to make sure you're optimizing, you're paying attention to the data so you can make changes that are going to be effective long term. So that's what it's all about. So this is something that we realized after working with this firm for a while, that most people are interacting with Legal Linda to get help with their green card situation. So we made it simple. We added this here, so kind of improve user experience. So, but go through this really quickly. I don't know how deep I want to go, simply because this is live here. So it's going to ask you this: get help with your green card case. I'm going to give my name here. Phone number. And I don't think I'm going to go too far. And from here, you're going to select, obviously we said a green card here, and then we're going to get their high level information about their situation. And then from there, I guess I can get this. We can just go for it. I'll just bite the bullet and I'll email them that we have a great relationship. So, didn't have time to set up a demo. And if you set the bar so high, we'll just go for this. And get the email information. Then from here, we're going to proceed to do a technical diagnostic. We're going to ask them. So a technical diagnostic is something that this law firm does when someone qualifies for a green card situation. Like I said, law firms are awesome in regards to understanding their customer, understanding what questions they need to ask their customer, understanding what qualifies their customer, and what comes next. They just don't have an efficient way of doing that and streamlining that. So Legal Linda does just that. So we got the contact information, we got high level information about the case. So now we're essentially doing the diagnostic, which is Basically, after you realize someone can kind of use your services, diagnostic is basically the qualification process. So based on what I respond to these next set of questions determines if I qualify and if the legal lender would prompt you to book an appointment with the attorney. So this is a process that more or less took them about 2 to 3 different steps, 2 to 3 different touch points with the client or the prospective client. It is now consolidated into like 5 minutes, which is huge for this firm. So I guess I'm not gonna go all the way down there. I'm just gonna stop there. But after we, it's about 6 to 7 questions right here for the green card diagnostic, and if they qualify, the legal lender, based on the criteria, the defined criteria, legal lender will prompt it to book an appointment. So I'm gonna stop there. And the law firm gets this information. In real time. Then we get these text message and email notifications. It's sent to their CRM. So it's pretty robust, and the user also gets email notifications of reminders of their appointment bookings and things like that. I'm going to stop rambling. So if you guys have any questions, we can just talk about that later. But that's how that works.
Awesome. Great information.
Yep.
And well, at this moment, I want to introduce Chris. Chris just came on board. And Chris, tell us who you are, man. Introduce yourself. And then once you introduce yourself, tell us about, we hear about these terms called AI, RPA, and chatbots. Can you break it down a little bit, the definitions and for our audience, just in case anybody is a little lost and stuff like that. You're the main man when it comes to those definitions. So you're the expert. You got to unmute yourself, by the way.
I always do that. It's like remote bingo. It's like, hey, you're on mute. Like, I'm not hearing you. But yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry for being late. I actually had a little bit of a COVID scare this morning, so I had to run in to get a rapid test. The wife is pregnant and diabetic, so we are being ultra careful. So we had something really close to us. Nephew went back to school and got sick, so I had to run in this morning and get that checked. So again, thanks for accommodating me, Ebony. Thanks for allowing me to kind of still jump in. I love doing these, right? So it is an honor to kind of sit down here and to take a part, right, in the startup week. Joe, thanks for having me again. Danica, pretty cool to what you guys are doing. And Anthony, I met you like a couple months ago, so really cool to see where you are at this point. I do have a little slide I'll show you here that will help Joe answer that question that you had. So let me just kind of bring it up and share. Hopefully I can help the audience sort of like, distinguish between, the different types of technologies. They all play in one stack, to tell the truth. But before I do show, I'll just do a quick introduction of myself so everyone knows where I'm coming from. While Anthony and Danica has done a really good job of, kind of like taking the technology to provide, commercial tools that answer a particular question, right, a particular need. Again, that's where it's one of the places that's really valuable. What we've done and what we do is that we take it from a little different angle, where we look at the stack, which I'm about to show you, and we understand that it solves this really deep B2B sort of like problems, right? So business to business problems. One of the terms that we have and we coin internally, and we talk to our partners all the time, it's about what we call automating at the edges, or automation at the edges. So we call that our ATE strategy. And basically what we say is that, automation itself, right, whether it's chatbots and whatever it is that makes up this intelligent automation stack, it becomes very valuable, right, from a value chain perspective, right? It becomes very valuable when we start looking at the edges, right, of businesses, right? So where does the operations department of one business speak to the service department of another business, right? Or where does the operations from one business talk to marketing from a next business? It's at these edges we feel like when you bring in automation, whether it's for chatbots, right, and extended, you're really going to see some transformational change. So we're all about transformational change for automation, and more specifically for intelligent automations if you Google the term. But what I'm going to do is, to your question, Joe, I'm going to bring up what that looks like, right? So we're just going to get a nice idea of, when I see that intelligent automation stack, what we're talking about. So just give me 1 second. Let me just go ahead and share my screen here. All righty. Okay. So So let me just go back a little bit. I'm just going to do one slide here. So if we look at the whole intelligent automation, right, Joe, and we talk about RPA and all these things, this is what it looks like, right? So when we talk intelligent automation, we talk about 4 parts, so like a 4-component stack. One of them, obviously, going from left to right, is business process management, right? So you're sort of like automating a bunch of workflows, so that, Danica, Anthony, they kind of showed this one particular workflow or a group of workflows that they can automate within their respective spaces. What we look at is, can we automate any workflow, right? And that's what we kind of do. We go into different workflows, different industries. We focus a lot on transportation right now, but we do transportation, accounting, we do finance, whatever it is, but we look at different automation of flows. We also look at it from a continuous process improvement angle, from a Six Sigma angle as to how we can optimize flows before we kind of get them into our automated process. The second part is AI and machine learning. And whenever we are AI and machine learning from an application standpoint, that's where the chatbots come in, right? So one of the things that we really do, that we feel that's really cool, is that we say that whenever you have an intelligent automation platform that involves all these different types of robots, the key to success is marrying human to automation. And chatbots, for example, are a really cool way to marry human to automation. A lot of the times we see humans actually talking to chatbots that actually control automation. So for example, we might have flows that are not 100% automated. They might be 80% automated, and there might be some human interaction needed while for the automation to finish its job. Well, a cool way of doing that is to create a chatbot that will actually serve as a conduit between the human worker and the full automation. So a little bit different from what we're seeing where it's kind of like B2C, right? This is B2B, and really at the backward, it's sort of like human to automation, right? Conversation. And it's a really cool thing, right? Like for example, an automation going through to, to provide status updates, right? Where it might be 90% sure of the status updates, but needs a human to give it the final judgment piece. Having a human interact with that automation platform through chatbots, so then that actually then automates a response back to a customer. Those are the kind of things. And then you talk about RPA, which is basically this robotic process automation, which is pretty much rule-based, right? Rule-based if-else rules. That's that. And then obviously APIs, connectivities to your different platforms through application interfaces and so forth. So you put all these 4 things together, right, Joe? And what we have is this intelligent automation platform. And at the center of it, as sort of like this connectivity between human and the actual robot automation, right, is the concept of these conversational interfaces, example, the chatbots. So that's kind of like the answer to that question, right? What is the difference? What is the different components that make up intelligent automation? Is those 4 pieces, and this is how they play together.
Yeah, only you could answer that.
Hopefully me and everyone that works within NetSVS, or else I wouldn't be doing my job.
Right? Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think the audience appreciates that. That's a lot of technical information that we don't know about. But so this question is for everyone. Regardless if someone uses the SaaS platform, the SaaS platform, to create a bot or use a developer, what is one tip that you have for entrepreneurs to, help make chatbots work for them? Should we do ladies first?
My turn first. Okay. Number one tip. So I think chatbots are a bit trendy, right? It's like new technology. Everybody's getting it. It's the wave of the future, all of this. And I think that there's maybe a tendency to kind of jump on something if it's new and it's out there. I need it too because everyone else has it. But I think what companies should really do, nonprofit, for-profit, whatever kind of company you have, is just really assess what are your goals of having a chatbot? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Just getting something because everyone else has it could be a fantastic waste of time. And not everybody needs a chatbot. So just really figure out, okay, what do you want to accomplish with it? And is it possible with a chatbot? And like Anthony was saying, platforms are different. Like Given is only for nonprofits. We can't even help a for-profit. Like you have to be a registered nonprofit to get on our platform. But like Anthony was saying, there's ManyChat, there's, his company, there are many others that can be more specialized to what your company is doing and your audience. So I think it's a combination of knowing what your goals are and then also what platform is best for you if, you know, a chatbot will help you accomplish those goals.
Yes, absolutely. And another thing, you know, creating a chatbot, deploying a chatbot is an iterative process. You know, it's not something that you're just going to do one time and just sit back and say, hey, this is great. Let's move on to something else. You definitely want to make sure you're number one, communicating with your end user or your customer continually to see what they need, what changes may need to be made going forward, how get that feedback so you can obviously be effective in regards to maintaining that chatbot. And number one, optimizing. You know, looking at the data. We look at the data every single morning when we come in. We look at all the data and we try to figure out ways that we can make the bot better for our customers and users, because that's super important. So yeah, like I said, it's an iterative process. Communicate with the customers and look at that data, optimize it.
My end, I sort of like will borrow something from Danica here and, you know, from Anthony, and going on a little bit deeper into it. The main thing is your chatbot, right, has to be outcome based, right? So that's, again, borrowing that from Danica, right? You kind of look at what kind of outcome or outcomes, right, you're trying to facilitate within any conversation. And actually that's maybe understated. I mean, if you think of what the customer or the user would like to eventually, or at the end of the day, accomplish, if you kind of start with that and then work back, it's kind of like a really big deal. Now, to go a little bit deeper in that, what does that mean to work back? I know maybe a lot of people on the call here are maybe trying to wonder, if I want to get into this technology and use this, what sort of like skills do I need to have? So I'll answer the question from that standpoint as well. If this is outcome based, right? If it's about facilitating an outcome, right? Asking the right questions, that leads to one thing, the concept of decision analysis, decision trees, right? So if you're looking to say, hey, how do I build my skill up so I can get, I can get really good in this space? It's not about coding. That's not the first thing that you learn. Learn conversational trees, learn decision trees, right? Learn understanding outcome, right? And then being able to map an outcome back to eventual questions. And you can do that for conversational trees. You can do that for decision trees. So that's what I would say, that the most important thing, and again, I'm speaking from a technical angle, right? I know Anthony and Danica are more from, the platform and sell and that kind of stuff. But from a technical standpoint, for me, learn decision trees, right? Learn decision tree analysis, right? Stuff like that. Learn design thinking. That's a really big one as well. Those are two spaces that if you get really strong, then the coding can actually come down the line.
Really cool. Well, you know what? You guys have been awesome, man. Y'all have given some great information, and I'm sure that's it's very valuable to a lot of our listeners and viewers. And now for the next few minutes, we're going to open up the floor to any questions from the audience. So you guys that are watching us and listening to us, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post it on the chat to the right side. And you could just put attention to anybody on there and see who wants to answer it.
All right, so it looks as though we've gotten questions already in the Q&A tab. So I'll go ahead and start asking the questions. The first question is, where and how do I get started with creating a chatbot? So instead of all three of you answer, I'm going to play Russian roulette on my screen. Anthony.
Where and how? I think, Chris, you just kind of touched on that. There's some skills that you would probably want to tap into before doing so. But I think we kind of touched on this earlier as well. I'm just going to reinforce it here. Definitely want to identify where in your businesses, for your customer, it's taking up a lot of time, or high positions that can, you can create a defined process for and replicate that. That's a good place to start. And, also just looking, at things that take up a lot of time, and reverse engineering that and trying to determine ways where you can streamline some of those processes. I think that's
so to even be more specific for this particular question, and we're not endorsing any platforms. Yeah. I mean, we're only endorsing you three, but we're not endorsing any other platforms not on here. What platforms have you come across and have seen in the industry? So I think that might actually come closer to answering the question. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'll open up to either Chris or Danica if you have any.
So I can take that one a little bit, right? For for the hardcore skill itself of developing the chatbot, right? And again, I think Anthony's answer to this is a little bit different, right? Because they're creating their stuff from pretty much from scratch, right? And they're doing something that's really custom. So I think that question for Anthony is kind of a little different of a question, right? For if you're doing something else that's built upon other platforms, right? So for example, I don't know if anyone in our audience has heard of Amazon Lex, right? For example, so if you go on the AWS platform, right? So again, actually, let me repeat that. I know I said it kind of quick. If anyone's taking notes, AWS, right? Your Amazon Web Services platform. You look for a service called Amazon Lex, right? Which is the underlying sort of like technology for Alexa, right? That's the group, right? If you go onto that website, if you go onto the AWS website, you sign up. It's a free account, right? Especially if you're a student, you're gonna get a bunch of credits so you can use it. They're gonna have tutorials on how to create a chatbot, right? How to do conversational interfaces, and you just kind of follow the directions. As a matter of fact, at NetSVS, we do so much of everything that we do a lot of learning every single day, and that's how my team, my engineers learn. When we say, hey, let's create a bot or whatever, let's look at AWS. We just jump on the AWS site and we follow the tutorials, right? And you know, it's obviously it's more difficult than that, but it's pretty much the same thing, right? You just go on there, you follow. You can do the same thing if you want to go on to the Microsoft platform, you know, as well. They have chatbots there as well. So that's how I would start. Just go on AWS, for example, because that's what we've used. You know, look for Amazon Lex, right? And then you kind of see some of the tutorials to create chatbots and just follow them, right? Obviously, that is the assumption that you have some GPL or general program purpose languages, like, you know, whether it's a Node.js or something like that, that you already have some exposure to, right? So you can follow it, but hey, you can pick those things up as you go, right? So that from a raw coding standpoint, that's where you would go. And then obviously there's a wealth of places you could learn stuff like design thinking, you know, conversational, you know, trees and stuff like that. Google it, right? That information is all over. Do some Udemy courses on stuff like that. Get yourself going. And then obviously, as Ebony says, shameful plug here, but you know, we're doing some stuff as well where we're going to be training you know, people, you know, on some of these technologies as well. We just launched a pre-apprenticeship program that I'm pretty sure Ebony can actually share with you if you guys reach out to her as well, or just directly contact me. So that's how I would go about doing that.
Okay. So an average user would look for a SaaS platform that might be offering this type of thing. Yes, just yeses up and down. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I can add to what Anthony and Chris said, if you think about chatbots, you know, if you compare them to maybe websites, I think that's helpful because everybody has a different skill level. You know, you may know how to code, you may know how to just throw up a quick WordPress site, you may have to do something that's even more drag and drop, right? So it's about understanding your skill level and then also the time that you want to put into that. Like if you're a massive DIYer, you're like, I want to figure out how to, you know, build my own chatbot, then go for it. But I think your first step is once you decide that you do want a chatbot is, okay, where do your skills lie? And then also just where's your time? You know, and I would say most people, average kind of user uses a SaaS platform, you know, so like Given or something like ManyChat, something like Chatfuel, where you don't have to do that coding. So, but I think definitely it's figuring out kind of your appetite for actually diving in and doing it yourself.
So next question from Chris Camara. What are the range of chatbot options today, and how do you think they best interface with AI and ML? So artificial intelligence, machine learning, I should say that for people in the audience who don't know what AI and ML are. So besides just answering questions, what are some of the unique things that you have seen people do? And I don't know if hopefully I'm communicating Chris's question properly.
So Ebony, I think that question is kind of like two-pronged, right? It's like a two-sided question, right? It's kind of like
be answered in 30 seconds or less because we're running out of time.
Yep. So really quick, you can use chatbots for more than just answering questions. You can use chatbots if you integrate some sort of like maybe third-party integration and stuff like that, which is machine learning AI, to do more than just the natural language processing that in itself is what the chatbot is. You can do decision making, right? You can grab information and, for example, derive information from raw information, right, to pass on from a conversation. A real big use of chatbots, right, in B2B is, for example, infusing additional information with raw information coming in for a channel, right, so that that can be passed back to someone, right? So that's maybe like a really cool thing that you might want to do outside of this, the normal conversation, is using your chatbot platform to actually infuse and add meta information to a conversation that might be happening in real time.
Okay, Anthony, Danica, anything else to add?
Actually,
Okay. All right. So the other question that I see, can you speak to the ongoing maintenance of bots? And I think, Anthony, you hit on it earlier. You can't just set it and forget it. So I'm going to conclude with this one last question. Are most platforms using Google's natural language API for their system?
Probably speak on that a lot more, but no, there's several different tools. Like Amazon has their own system, Microsoft has their own system, and there's a couple of more. So I mean, there's you have many options, you know, for picking a natural language understanding library to use when implementing a chatbot.
It's a lot, and actually, I just got a link from one of our engineers this morning. There is this new open source AI platform you can do the same thing with. So they're popping up every day. I don't think nobody dominates the market per se. Maybe AWS at some level because of the platform itself, but you can find it stuff all over. Actually, I'll post maybe the link here to the AI platform as well because it's open source, and that's always pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, because of respect for time for the people who have to prep for their session that comes up right after ours, I do want to make sure that we end on time. So thank you so much, Joe, for keeping the conversation going. Thank you, Danica, Anthony, and Chris, for coming in and sharing what you're doing